Welcome to Darkleaveswhisper. Tonight, we venture into the misty bamboo groves of a village where the wind carries voices from the past and spirits that refuse to be forgotten. If you love stories steeped in culture, mystery, and the supernatural, subscribe, leave a comment, and share this tale with someone brave enough to listen closely. Now, let the whispers guide you. I grew up hearing whisper about the bamboo groves outside our Hmong village, high in the misty hills of northern Laos. The elders said the wind carried voices there, ancestors speaking, spirits wandering, and secrets better left untold. I never paid much attention until that evening. The sun was sinking behind the mountains, painting the sky in deep oranges and purples. I walked along the narrow dirt path that led to the grove, my sandals crunching softly on the loose earth. My grandmother's warnings echoed in my head. May, never go too deep into the bamboo alone, ever. The spirits will notice, but curiosity tugged harder than fear. As I stepped between the towering stalks, the air grew cooler, heavier. The familiar sounds of the village, roosters crowing, children laughing, faded into an uneasy silence. Then I heard it, a voice, soft and urgent, whispering my name. Mai! I froze, my heart hammering. Turning slowly, I saw her, a woman, tall and draped in traditional clothing, her face partially hidden beneath a veil. Her presence seemed almost unreal, like she had emerged from the mist itself. Come closer, she said, her voice carrying an echo of the hills themselves. I have a story to share. I should have stepped back, should have run, but something compelled me forward. Dumb, I know, but my feet moved without me, drawing me deeper into the grove. The woman lifted her hand, brushing my forehead with fingers icy cold, sending a shiver straight to my bones. Suddenly, the world shifted. I was no longer just in the grove. Images flashed in my mind. My ancestors tending rice terraces, warriors defending the village, shamans performing rituals, and spirits hovering just beyond the bamboo. Their faces, their voices, their lives, everything was vivid, overwhelming, impossible to ignore. And then the woman whispered again, "You must remember, or he will return." A chill ran down my spine. Who? I whispered back. The veil fluttered, though there was no wind, and I realized this was only the beginning. I woke the next morning to a strange heaviness in the air, like the bamboo itself was watching me. My grandmother was already up, tending the chickens, but she didn't say a word about last night. I wondered if I had dreamed it all. But the grove, it was calling me. I found myself walking the narrow dirt path again, my sandals barely making a sound on the damp earth. The sun was barely above the mountains, casting long shadows between the bamboo stalks. I felt the weight of unseen eyes on me. Then I saw it. A shadow moving among the stalks. Not a person, not fully, but not nothing either. It was tall and flickering, like smoke caught in the wind, and it followed my every step. I stopped. Who's there? My voice trembled, though I tried to make it steady. The shadow didn't respond. Instead, the woman from last night appeared again, her veil fluttering, though the air was still. She raised a finger, pointing deeper into the grove. "You must see him," she whispered. "He waits for those who forget." My heart skipped. Who? What are you talking about? She didn't answer, only gestured, and the shadow moved closer. My breath caught in my throat. It wasn't human, but it carried an eerie intelligence. It was watching me, learning me, waiting for something. Panic surged. I wanted to turn and run back to the village, to the safety of familiar roofs and laughter. But something inside me, fear or curiosity, I couldn't tell, pushed me forward. The woman's voice followed me, soft and haunting. He betrayed us, and now he seeks what he lost. I stumbled on a root, falling to my knees. When I looked up, the shadow was closer. I could feel its presence pressing against me, cold and heavy. And then I heard it, a low whisper, almost drowned by the rustling bamboo. You remember? My grandmother's warnings, the village tales, the stories of ancestors, all rushed back. I realized the woman and the shadow were part of something older than me, older than the hills, older than the village. The air grew colder, and I shivered. I couldn't seize the end of the grove, just bamboo, stretching into fog and shadow. But I sensed something waiting, something tied to my family, to the stories of the past, to a betrayal I did not yet understand. The woman reached out again, pressing a cold hand to my shoulder. You must honor the past, or he will take it. And then she was gone, alone with only the whispering bamboo and the shadow that lingered at the edge of my vision. I knew I had crossed into a place where the living and the spirits met, and that leaving the grove would not be so simple. That night, sleep was impossible. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw the shadow moving through the bamboos, felt its cold breath brushing against my neck. The village seemed quieter than usual, as if even the wind held its breath, waiting. Unable to ignore it any longer, I ventured out again. Lantern in hand, I moved down the familiar dirt path, the soft crunch of leaves beneath my feet the only sound. The bamboo swayed, though there was no wind, and the shadows stretched unnaturally long, twisting into shapes that almost resembled hands reaching for me. Then I saw her, the woman. Her veil fluttered in the lantern light, revealing just enough of her face for me to feel her sorrow. Her eyes, dark and deep, seemed to hold centuries of grief. She whispered, stepping closer. He cannot move on. He waits for the living to remember him, to acknowledge his story. I swallowed hard. Who is he? The one who betrayed your ancestors, she said. The shadow you have seen. Once a guardian of our family, he was corrupted by jealousy and anger. His spirit cannot rest, and now he seeks what was stolen. His story, his honor. I felt my stomach twist. And what does he want from me? The bamboo around us seemed to pulse, the rustling growing louder, more insistent. You are a child of this land, a descendant of those he wronged. He will test you. You must honor the ancestors, remember their tales, or he will claim what is yours. I wanted to run, to flee into the hills, but something stronger than fear kept me rooted. It was a responsibility, a duty I had never asked for. A sudden movement caught my eye, a flicker at the edge of the grove, the shadow. He emerged, not fully human, not fully spirit, but with a weight and presence that made the lantern light waver. His form shimmered, twisting like smoke, but I could feel his eyes on me, watching, judging. Thou must remember, the whispering wind carried his voice, low and threatening, or you will not leave. I gripped my grandmother's pendant tightly, the carved wooden amulet she had given me long ago for protection. It was said to hold the strength of generations. I recited the words she had taught me. Ancient chants, a lullaby to the spirits, a plea for guidance. The shadow flickered. The bamboo rustled, almost as if it were holding its breath. Then, for a fleeting moment, The veiled woman's face appeared behind the shadow, sorrowful, urging me to continue. I remember, I whispered, my voice breaking. I remember your story. I honor it, the shadow shrieked, a sound like metal scraping stone, and twisted violently, then suddenly dissipated into the fog that hung over the grove. The air grew warmer. The bamboo stopped swaying. Silence returned, though heavy with the weight of what had just happened. The woman's voice lingered softly, almost like a sigh in the wind. Remember always. Forgetting is dangerous, but you have begun well. I sank to my knees, exhausted, my heart still racing. Somehow I understood. This was only the beginning, and I would need courage, knowledge, and respect for the spirits if I hoped to survive the nights ahead. The following evening, I returned to the grove, determined to uncover more about the ancient spirits tied to my ancestors. Lantern in hand, I moved cautiously through the bamboo, the shadows stretching like skeletal fingers. Each step felt heavier than the last, as if the grove itself were testing my resolve. The air was thick, carrying the scent of damp earth and decaying leaves. Somewhere deep in the grove, water trickled over rocks, yet I felt a strange stillness, as though the very grove were holding its breath. Then I heard whispers, not the soft wind that had called my name before, but multiple voices, hushed, urgent, echoing from all directions. They spoke in the old Hmong dialect, their words fragmented but filled with sorrow. Mai, do not forget, remember, honor. I gripped my grandmother's amulet tightly, reciting the chants I had learned. With each word, the whispers seemed to grow louder, pressing against my mind. And then I saw them, faint apparitions emerging from the mist between the bamboo stalks. Warriors, elders, children, all ethereal, watching, waiting. And there, at the center of it all, stood Chu. His shadowy form was more defined now, taller, darker, with eyes that glowed faintly in the lantern light. I could feel the centuries of anger, regret, and betrayal radiating from him. You remember, yet you come again, he whispered, his voice low and hollow, like wind through hollow reeds. Do you seek to take my place? To tell my story without earning it? I swallow hard. I do not seek to replace you. I only seek understanding. I honor your story. The shadow twisted violently, and the air grew colder. I could hear the rustling bamboo rising into a chorus of whispers and low moans, as if the grove itself were alive with the memories of the past. Suddenly, a figure emerged from the mist, the woman in the veil. Her eyes locked onto mine, urging calm. You must go deeper, she said. The truth lies beyond what you see. Only there can the shadow rest. I hesitated. Fear gnawed at me, but determination pushed me forward. The bamboo parted into a narrow clearing, revealing an old stone altar, half buried in moss and earth. Carved into the stones were names, dates, and symbols I didn't fully understand. Ancestral markers, perhaps, left to honor the dead and guide the living. I approached slowly, placing the amulet on the altar and reciting the chants again. He hovered nearby, silent now, watching, waiting. The air felt heavy with expectation, and then it happened. The shadows of the apparitions began to move toward the altar, swirling around me in a gentle yet commanding rhythm. They whispered their stories, triumphs, losses, love, betrayal, all converging into one overwhelming current of memory. His form began to shrink, flickering, the anger in his presence softening. The whispers intensified, and then silence. The grove exhaled as if releasing a long-held breath. The woman in the veil appeared one last time, nodding. You have begun well. But remember, guard the stories, guard the grove. Your journey is not yet complete, but the shadow will not harm you tonight. Exhausted and trembling, I sank to my knees, lantern casting long, wavering shadows across the bamboo. I realized that the grove's secrets were vast, tied to my people, my ancestors, and the spirits that lingered, demanding to be remembered. I knew I had survived the night, but the whispers would not end. They would call to me again, guiding me, testing me, until I truly understood my place among the living and the dead. The night air was colder than ever when I returned to the grove for the final time. Lantern in hand, I moved carefully over the damp earth, each step crunching against fallen bamboo leaves. The mist hung thick between the stalks, curling around me like ghostly fingers. I knew this night would be different. His presence pressed against the edge of my awareness, heavier and more insistent than before. The woman in the veil had warned me that the shadow would test me, that the spirits would demand my full attention. And they did. The whispers began immediately. Hundreds of voices, layered over each other, repeating names, dates, and events I could barely comprehend. They swirled through the grove like wind through chimes, both beautiful and terrifying. I felt myself pulled toward the stone altar, the amulet in my hand glowing faintly. Then I saw him, his shadowy form taller and more solid than ever. He was no longer simply a flicker at the edge of vision. He was a presence, oppressive and overwhelming. His eyes glowed with ancient grief and fury. You dare to remember and yet return? He whispered, his voice a low, vibrating hum that seemed to echo through my bones. I honor your story, I replied, my voice trembling but firm. I carry it with me, and I would not let it fade. Your legacy, your pain, it will be remembered. The shadow twisted violently, and the growth shivered. The bamboo stalks bent and swayed, though the air was still. The whispers rose to a deafening chorus, and for a moment I feared the weight of it would crush me. Then, slowly, the shadow approached the altar. Dam Chu's form flickered, the darkness unraveling into shapes of mist and light. His eyes softened, and the anger that had radiated from him for so long seemed to dissipate, replaced by a profound sorrow. You understand, he whispered. You remember? I stepped forward and placed the amulet on the altar, repeating the chants I had learned from my grandmother. The bamboo grove shivered once more, and then a wave of calm settled over me. The whispers became gentle, soothing, voices of ancestors welcoming me, acknowledging my respect and courage. The woman in the veil appeared, her face serene. She nodded at me, a soft smile gracing her lips. You have done well, Mai. The shadow can rest for now, but always guard the stories. Always honor the grove. His form shimmered one last time before dissolving completely into the mist. The grove seemed to exhale, releasing centuries of tension and sorrow. I sank to my knees, exhausted but alive. The lantern's light danced across the bamboo, revealing the grove in a new way, alive yet peaceful. The spirits had been appeased, and a connection to my ancestors now felt unbreakable, a thread tying me to the past and guiding me into the future. As I walked back toward the village, I realized that some stories are not just tales, they are legacies, living and breathing, waiting for someone to carry them forward. And I would carry mine faithfully, with respect, courage, and remembrance. the whispers of the bamboo grove will always be with me, a reminder that the past is never truly gone, and that the spirits of our ancestors watch over those who remember. The bamboo groves hold their secrets, and the spirits within them listen. Remember, some stories are alive, and some stories are waiting for you to hear them. Thank you for joining us for the Whispering Bamboo Grove. Like, subscribe, and share, and keep your ears open for the voices that linger just beyond the leaves.